Recently was announced that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for $68 billion, a historic acquisition that shook the gaming world. Knowing how much money Microsoft has, we kinda always expected something huge like that to happen one day. But what about Nintendo? Well, Nintendo is a different kind of company. However, they also made some acquisitions during the years, and I want to talk about one in particular. Hey everyone, it's me, Luiz Estrela from Nintendo Everything, and today we're going to talk about a studio that little by little became one of the most important pillars of Nintendo's development. Let's talk about Monolith Soft. The first thing that I want to note here is that it's not usual for Nintendo to buy other studios. In fact, it's common to see them actively avoiding that, working with independent companies via contracts. Some examples would be Good Feel, Gretsu, Platinum, and Mercury Steam. I assume that a lot of reasons are behind this behavior. One of them being the fact that their IPs are so valuable that they can keep a good relationship with small developers who are always eager to work with big names such as Mario, Zelda, and Metroid. However, of course there are exceptions. Sometimes a company is in a situation that Nintendo needs to step in to prevent losing the partnership, a buy me or lose me situation. That was the case for the recent acquisition of Next Level Games, for example. Sadly, the same thing didn't happen with Alpha Dream, developers of the Mario and Luigi series. The studio went bankrupt and Nintendo didn't seem interested in buying them. Now, Monolith Soft was in a different situation. Nintendo never worked with the studio before buying 80% of its shares from Bandai Namco in 2007. But according to Satoru Iwata, both companies shared similar philosophies and the kind of software that they produced was in line with what Nintendo wanted in their console. I don't know if at that time Iwata knew what Monolith would become in the future. Maybe he was just looking for a great JRPG developer, seeing that Square was not giving a lot of support to Nintendo since the 64. Well, it took a little while, but in 2010 they definitely proved that they were a very competent JRPG developer with Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. I won't repeat what everyone already said. The first Xenoblade is a gigantic achievement in scale and storytelling. Monolith Soft, led by its director Tetsuya Takahashi, managed to create a monumental experience with a limited budget on the modest hardware of the Wii. I won't say that the graphics are beautiful or that everyone loves its combat, even though I do, but it's undeniably impressive. And that's important here, because as I said, Nintendo doesn't usually acquire companies. However, Monolith is justifying its acquisition by offering something different and new. It's amazing to hear the stories about the development of the first Xenoblade. Takahashi was a little apprehensive at first with the scope of his ideas and was ready to make some compromises, similar to what happened on his past projects like Xenogears and Xenosaga. But the producer Hitoshi Yamagami from Nintendo believed in the project and encouraged Takahashi to keep his vision. I'm a huge fan of all of Takahashi's work, and I think that the support that he had at Nintendo was really important for Monolith Soft. His ambitions being heard were key to the company's success. And then, 5 years later, with much more confidence, Xenoblade Chronicles X happened. Oh my god, how did they do that? This is a whole new level of openness. At the time I remember seeing the trailer for this game and not believing that it would actually play like this. But yes, everything is true. The world in Xenoblade X is ridiculously big and alive. It's created without boundaries and the player can explore in any way he wants. On foot, with super jumps, with a mecha on the ground, or flying. Honestly, it's beyond impressive. And look, can you imagine how low the budget was? Because even if we consider that Nintendo liked Monolith, they wouldn't provide anything near the budget of games like Zelda, Mario and Pokemon to Xenoblade. It's like a father that gave $10 to his son and the boy came back with, a television. Now, here's what is interesting. According to Takahashi, the idea behind Xenoblade Chronicles X was to prove that Monolith Soft was able to create an open world system with online and in high resolution. Takahashi was challenging his team to make them grow and learn. He said, "I try to make decisions not only considering the immediate consequences, but also considering where Monolith Soft is heading in the future." That explains a lot. Xenoblade X was not only a new game in the series, but also something of a tech demo for the company. At this point, the studio was already working with a lot of Nintendo IPs, such as Splatoon, Pikmin, Animal Crossing, and Zelda. Skyward Sword and Link Between Worlds both had Monolith Soft help involved. Those are great games, but they are also very safe Zelda experiences in relation to the overall structure of the game. Breath of the Wild, on the other hand, is a huge shift in the series and seems to be the one that most benefited from Monolith's involvement. According to Onuma, Monolith assisted in making topographic arrangements, thanks to designers who are used to work with large areas. Breath of the Wild is very different from Xenoblade X, but it's clear that a lot of know-how was shared between the production of those two games. What is amazing to witness is how both series, Zelda and Xenoblade, were able to create those big and open worlds that can provide a fantastic level of freedom and guide the player to some places while inciting exploration. It's clever level design on a huge scale. Of course, Breath of the Wild is amazing because the Zelda team at Nintendo is amazing. But I also think that the game is a combination of Monolith's work with the Xenoblade series. When I look at Monolith Soft nowadays, I see an accomplished studio that became essential to Nintendo. No other subsidiary, not even Retro Studios, managed to be as fruitful as them. Just looking at Sweet's first year, in 2017, Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. 3 games that Monolith was involved, and all of them were great successes. It's no surprise that we are seeing expansions in structure and staff with each passing year, and of course, more profits. And who knows what we may see in the future? A new Xenoblade? A new IP? We don't know, but I'm always excited for anything produced by them. Again, I don't know if Iwata knew at the time that this company from Bandai Namco would become so important. Maybe he saw how much ambition Takahashi had. But it is true that Monolith has a special connection with Nintendo. After all, the studio was able to flourish in a way that didn't happen with Bandai Namco. Nintendo buying Monolith Soft in 2007 is totally different from Microsoft buying Activision right now, but it is interesting to see the different kinds of approach to buying a company and how Nintendo managed to help Monolith develop into something greater. I sure hope that Microsoft can make Activision Blizzard into something way better than what they are now. And that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like or to leave a comment, okay? Until next time, bye!